Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Hope you are okay on that side of the screen. And today to talk about Xbox Cloud Gaming. Now, for those that don't know what is cloud gaming, basically is the ability to play games on any device that are not installed locally, are installed on this particular case Microsoft server. And that means that we will be able to use computers that are not very powerful with dedicated GPUs and so on and so forth to play games that otherwise would require a muscled computer. Now, one of those cases is my MacBook Pro, which I will share my experience with you in just a few moments. Also, we can use on mini PCs that we have on our living room using Plex, Kodi and so on and so forth, and we can also use this or on our mobile phones, tablets and even Windows computers. Now, first of all, let me mention that I do have the Game Pass Ultimate, which is required to have the cloud gaming possibility. In my particular case, my profile is that, as you guys know, I've got an Xbox S right over here. If you haven't watched that video where I do share why I have chosen that console for my kids, and at the time of the purchase of the console, I did also acquire the Game Pass Ultimate, which gives me the option to have games for the Xbox S, also to have games on PC, and at this moment with the bonus of having cloud gaming, which is just awesome. So this makes total sense for a customer such as myself. But if you don't have an Xbox, if you don't have a PC, then it will make things a little bit more difficult to choose. And although if you don't have a PC such as this one, a strong PC with a dedicated GPU, in this particular case this is the Lenovo Legion 5 Generation 6 beefy computer. But if you have a mini PC, then that will make some sense, especially because you will be able to play games on your Windows computer such as this one right over here that otherwise were only available for the Xbox. In terms of numbers, we are roughly above 100 games at this moment that we can play on the cloud, and the library is growing. So we expect a few improvements, which I will share in just a few moments, plus more games that will be added later. Now, what do we need to play this game? First of all, on mobile devices, and I've got here the Samsung Galaxy S20 Fan Edition 5G, and as you can see, we have a dedicated app. Now, some games with this symbol right over here will be able to use not only the gamepad but also the touch function, so we can use touch, and I've tested a few working really nice, and the feedback that I can give is that it works just awesome. I did had an issue or two in terms of network, but that was about it. If you have an iPhone, then there isn't a dedicated app at this moment, but the way it works is that we go through Safari, and then Safari will create the shortcut, and that short will reassemble very similar to a app, which works really awesome. So I can't complain, the experience is more or less the same, works great. If you want to use your iPad or any other tablet, then feel free to do so. When we move to Windows, then we have a dedicated app, and that app will allow us to install games locally as we did in the past, and now we can also choose games on the cloud. Those games on the cloud, the biggest advantage that I see is that besides the PC games that I could install right over here, I also have access to some games that were exclusive to the Xbox platform, and that is a really interesting thing. Now, I also used my MacBook Pro to test out macOS Linux computers. At this moment they have no dedicated app. We will have to use a browser, either Chrome or Safari, and once again the experience that I had right over here was great. The only downside sometimes is a break here on the network, nothing very serious. I only had one really serious issue with the drop of the network, but that was once. It was actually on the Windows. So my feedback right over here is that if your network is strong enough, you will have a great experience. Expect to have sometimes a few milliseconds of drop, which doesn't mean that we will have a worse experience. It will just, first of all, it will reduce the video quality a little bit, so we will see some pixelization on the screen, so that we can keep on playing until the signal is strong again, and it will boost the image quality. So this is the first symptom, and then if the network really crashes, then you will feel something crashing on the recording, like you would if you were watching Netflix and Wi-Fi connectivity just dropped. Now there's also the option to use the Game Cloud on Xbox X and S, and probably other Xboxes, I'm not really sure, but it's not available yet. And the advantage that I see right over there are two. First of all, the storage limitation on the Xbox, which we can use external storage and so on and so forth, but there is always a limitation. So in this particular case, we can play it from the cloud without using any storage on our Xbox. And the other one is, like I said, on the PC, there are games that are only for the PC, and I could not play on the Xbox. And after we have that service, we will be able to play PC games on the Xbox and vice versa. So that is just awesome. Now, one thing that I would like to show is one of the crashes that I had was through Wi-Fi using the Lenovo. It could be the MacBook as well, but in that particular case I was playing Dirt 5 and had the biggest crash over Wi-Fi. Now I did wonder, okay, let me plug in the Ethernet cable, and the thing is that so far I haven't had any issues at all. So this just means that my network sometimes has losses, and if I'm using a cable, then those losses are minimized. So that is just great. Another thing that I would like to mention, and I will show you right here over here on the screen, is the time of delay or response. And we will play, let's go for, I can load the game while we talk, Dirt 5. Because although I've got a lot of examples to show you, probably you already seen some, I would like to share with you right over here so that you can see my, I don't know, my driving skills, which are not that great, but nonetheless I want to see the response time and share it with you. One thing that I would also like to share is that at this moment I haven't found a way to use a keyboard and mouse, and for games like first-person shooter I really appreciate keyboard and mouse. I'm not a console guy. My generation used mouse and keyboards, and that's the way that I prefer to play those kind of games. Now you might say, okay, but a racing game is probably not the best to try out the response time and lag and whatnot, but in my opinion actually it is, because when we are driving, if there is a big delay, I turn left, and then when there's time to turn right, just things will go wrong. So I do believe that this is better than a first-person shooter, which to me, using a gamepad will be just a disgrace, and I will not be able to show you what I mean. So as you can see, probably you can see, and I'll do my best, the response time is just awesome. Sometimes I do notice, and at this moment I'm noticing a little bit of image degradation, nothing that serious, but this will balance the image quality and also the response time. So just great experience right over here. I was driving earlier a faster car. This one is a bit slower. This is a Jeep crossover or whatnot, but the experience is just awesome. So far, no crashes, and when I mean crashes, not on the car, but on the network or any other bug. So as you can see, my driving skills are not that good, but even for someone that it's not a gamer, which I'm not, definitely, the experience is awesome. And if the delay was too big, I was not able to turn on where I should, which this was not the computer or network fault, it was my fault, my driving skills. As I was saying, I would not be able to have a quick response and do what I'm doing right now, which is almost getting this guy right over here. And I'll try to do the okay, I just did one lap, so let's try the second lap so that you guys can have a better feel of my experience right over here. And I will also leave some examples at the end if I was not able to leave them during the video. And here I am on first place right now. Let's see how long I can hold to this place. Probably not long, but let's not lose hope. And this just to show you guys that the experience is really nice. I have no complaints, and once again at this moment I'm connected via Ethernet cable, so this also makes a really good difference, especially on the network that we have, which my network is great. I've got 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz, so I can choose. But even though sometimes it feels that it breaks a little bit, I'm not sure if it is when someone just starts playing something upstairs on the living room, Netflix or whatnot, and then it causes the network to go down, or if it's something right over here. And I think I'm finishing. Yeah, that is it. First place. So guys, for a guy that is not a gamer, just an awesome experience without having to install this. And once again, let's imagine that instead of having a powerful computer right over here like I do, let's imagine that I've got a mini PC on my living room, on my cinema living room, which I will share with you in a few days, the experience. And with a mini computer that costs roughly 150 euros or so, with a dual core or quad core CPU, I can have this experience right over here, which is just awesome. And that is it. Guys, the experience is not at this moment 100%, it's in beta, so we have to expect some bugs here and there, but I do believe that Microsoft is on the right way. And I'm really glad that they introduced this to the Game Pass Ultimate package, which was something that I already had. Hope that the video was helpful in some way, and if it was, don't forget that usual thumbs up right over there. My name is Roberto, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.